family, I hope you're doing well as always. My, I bring an amp to you today. Oh, and it's something a bit different. This is a hybrid amp. Basically, it's a valve and a solid state in one. Shock horror! How can this be working? So, this amp is by a company called YellowRock, and this is the CA35H. And it's a beast. It is a beast. The guy who makes this is a guy called Robert Card, and it's a one-man operation, one-man team, and I think we should support one-man team, shouldn't we? And he's based in Guernsey, and I've got a feeling that's where the YellowRock name comes from. And he's a electronic science whiz. He's done stuff with satellites, and oh man, he's yeah, clever guy. And he's another kind of amp designer I've met who doesn't play guitar, and I think that's amazing. You know, when you meet people who don't play guitar and they're making products for guitarists, because then they're, you know, listening to guitar players for their feedback and what do you like, what don't you like, and then because they know the formula and the mathematics what go into making those sounds, us guitar players say, like, we need more of a brown sound, or could it just be a bit more squashy? You know what I mean? These kind of weird sounds weird words we say, people like Robert can then say, yes, I know what you mean, and their soldering iron can come out and bada bing, bada boom. So I mentioned that this is a valve and a solid state in one, didn't I? And basically you've got your preamp and you've got your power amp. And in this amp, the preamp is the valves. That's where the valves are cooking, the kind of gain stage, if you will. And this has got a pair of 12 AX7s for their valves. And then the power amp is solid state, which isn't valves. And you know, if you're a purist like me, and I like valves, you know, I like the tone of a valve amp. At the same time, valves can be temperamental, and I've had amps in the past where you're like, are you going to be alright today at this gig? You know, you travel about 200 miles to a gig or something like that, and you get there and it's not sounding particularly how you wanted it to sound, or wasn't sounding how it was yesterday. With something like this, it can be quite handy, you know, where it's going to still sound the same because the power amp is a solid state. And I'll be cutting to some close-ups, and first impressions looking at the amp, it looks really cool. I do like the vibe of it. Reminds me a little bit of a Dumble, actually, the old Dumbles. But I just think it's a very cool boutique looking amplifier. And we've got the regular kind of you know, EQ control, treble, bass, middle, reverb, your master and your gain, and then you've got effects. I haven't got the effects loop, anything in the effects loop at the moment, but you can, you know, adjust the level how loud you want your effects loop to be. But everything's at the front, so if you're going to use the effects loop, we've got the send and return here. We've got a foot switch for the boost, which I'll be talking about in a minute, and all the LEDs. And also with the gain and the master, you can see that there's two LED lights above that. And so if I just smash it on here, you can see the LED on the gain is lighting up there, and that's showing how much, you know, the preamps are clipping the signal. And it kind of reminded me a little bit of like an interface when you're recording. You know, they kind of light up like that, and I think that's cool. You know, you can see what's working, you can see the mechanics what's working. And then with the master, when that's lighting up, that's showing when the power amp stage is starting to clip. Now before I do that, I should say this amp packs a massive punch. So it's a 35 watt, as you can see here, and you can adjust it to 8 watts. I currently have it on 8 watts. And you know, with valve amps, when it says 8 watts or 10 watts, don't think, oh, that's going to be really quiet. This amp is very, very loud, very loud. I was running it for a 4x12 before I turned the video on, but I switched it on to this 2x12 cab here. It's incredibly loud. So to get that power amp cooking, you've got to turn that bad boy up. And as you can see, I've got it like on 2 at the moment. But if I engage, oh sorry, I've missed another switch here, sorry. This is the twang switch, and basically this kind of just gives it a bit more treble, hence the word twang. So I've got the bridge pickup on Les Paul at the moment. Now flick the switch. Now you can see that the master, the power amp stage is starting to cook. So enough kind of talking. If you're like me, you're not a super technical whiz and all the, like I say, the valve, the 12AX, 7s, all this kind of stuff. You're like, look, does it sound good or does it sound bad? That's what you want to know, all right? So that's why I'm here. That's what I'm going to do, all right? So first impressions, if someone said to me, this isn't a full valve amp, I'd be like, really? So let me go on the neck pickup. I'm going to take the twang switch off. And like I say, I haven't got much gain going from the amp at the moment. It's like on 9 o'clock, which is 3. And it's plenty enough. So here's the neck pickup. I've got obviously the treble at 12 o'clock, a little bit of bass on 1, mid on 1, and a bit of reverb for a bit of splash because I like my reverb. Now if I kick that twang switch on, I like the twang switch. Turn it off for a minute, go to the bridge pickup. Twang switch on. Straight out, I started thinking like Mick Ronson. It's a cool rock and roll sound going on there. It's winning me over, I'll put it that way. And not much gain, and this is, no, the H in the CA35 stands for high gain. And, you know, I've only got a bit there and I've got my rock and roll kind of sound. You know, you're kind of Angus Young. Push the gain up to 12 o'clock. I'll change back over to a Strat in a minute as well. But just think of that Jimmy Page kind of sound. So, this is my sound going on. Right, the twang's on. Now, as I said, it's got a boost button switch. It comes with a foot pedal as well. I haven't got the foot pedal with me. So, I suppose the only negative, if you want to call it a negative thing, you can't adjust how much boost you want. It's set on one thing. But if you want to call lead boost, it's going to be there. So, if I get this, this might get loud. Loud. That's your rock tone. I mean, what else is there for me to say? You know what I mean? You heard it. There's nothing else for me to say. Let's put a Strat on, because you know some people got humbuckers, some people got Strats. Let's have a bit of fun with that. Stratocaster on. I expect the tuning police would be on me a little bit on that Les Paul, because it kept going out of tune a bit. I was kind of killing those bends. Right, Strat. Apart from my strap coming off, because I haven't got the proper strap buttons, that was alright. I'm going to leave that in the video. Now, one thing as well, which is very important for me, so we got that, the boost was off there, the game was on 12, you can see, there'll be close-ups, alright? Now, what is important for me with a good amp is if it cleans up nicely, alright? Now, again, I haven't got load of gain going on, I've got enough, but... Nice. play around a little bit with the EQ. So as you can see, I've got the bass on 1 o'clock. The power amp light came on there. I don't know if you saw that. But let's just knock the gain down a little bit where I had it to start with. All the middle off. Back to 1 o'clock, bass all off. Put that back where it was, and now treble all off. So once it gets kind of past 12, 1 o'clock, especially on that treble, not a super amount of difference going on there. But I mean, when it's off, you can hear when it's off, can't you? But I mean, if I sweep that treble, yeah. So anything like from 0 to kind of 12 o'clock, or 0 to what's that, 6 or whatever it is. Yeah, so not a massive difference there. I mean, I think I had it about 12 o'clock, didn't I, originally? But it's still a noticeable one there. Like I say, it's a really good, solid amp. And again, as a player, you're like, you know, with a valve amp, you can feel a note, and you know, I mean, I'm a player who doesn't play with a lot of distortion. It will highlight your mistakes. But at the same time, it gives you a better tone, you know, and a lot of our favourite players, you know, even Eddie Van Halen, you know, in the more technical players, especially in the early Van Halen albums, he didn't have a lot of gain, and you can hear all the notes. So if you're someone, let me just push that gain back up. You know, hopefully you could hear my notes there, you know. You know, so whatever all that gibberish was. But, you know what I mean? Like, it feels like a valve amp. And like I say, it is a valve amp, but that power amp is solid state, and basically, you know, where a lot of people kind of go wrong with any kind of, let's say, a full-on valve amp, they will smash up the gain to God knows what, and then have the master really low, and you get that really fizzy kind of sound. But by cranking the power amp and then having the preamp low, that's where you're going to get your kind of cool rock sound. So obviously, like I said, it's a very loud amp. I can't go much louder because I'll just kill my ears. It's loud enough, trust me. But you know, it's loud enough that the master is cooking because that red light's coming on. You know what I mean? So it's showing that it's not cooking. And so if I don't know, if I turn it down the master there. Now, it's not coming on quite as much. Hopefully you can see that. If not, I'll do a close-up for it. It's coming on here and there. But if I put it back where it was... No, the first note is there. It's working. twang switch off, let's talk a little bit more about that. The treble does really kind of come down, so you know what I mean. The treble, and actually a bit of it's mids as well in there. It's kind of getting a bit scooped out. Now you can see that red light isn't cooking at all now. And the tone is different as well. Because it's quieter, the mid to come down has made the volume to come down. So I can get a way of turning it up a little bit more. And now it's cooking. Now if I kick that twang, oh good God, substantially a lot louder. Twang on. So for me, as a player, I would probably leave that twang switch on all the time. I prefer the sound of that. And it's pushing the power amp solid state more, isn't it? You know, which is what we want, man. So it's a good amp. It's a really good amp. All the links will be in the description box below. I'm not just saying that because I know when you watch some YouTube videos and people are like, this is amazing, this is amazing. Like, if I thought it was boo-boo, I would say it's boo-boo. But it ain't. It's a really good sounding amp. I would check one out, seriously. As I say, links in the description box below. But the YellowRock, what am I, Jonathan Ross? The YellowRock CA35H. And it's a beast of an amp. And like I say, I think it looks very, very, very cool. And I like the idea of it all being, everything on the front, nothing around the back. And I didn't use any pedals. This was all amp. I didn't want to, I'm not going to put, no, demo an amp and then put an overdrive pedal through it. What's the point of that? Yeah, check one out. Let me know your thoughts, guys. I'll see you soon. Mike Bradley, signing out.